Hi all, good evening. Guys, can you hear me? Anybody can confirm? Can you hear me? All right, all right. Thank you, Manoj. All right. So, welcome to the demo session of MCSA, right? Where actually we are going to discuss about the functioning of server, okay, as well as how to configure the servers, how to use the servers in the real time. Okay, so all these things we are going to discuss, and whatever the topics we are going to cover that are totally based on real time scenarios, based on the experience. So even I'm also working as a senior cloud ops engineer, right? So based on my experience, whatever the knowledge I have gained so far, so I'm going to teach based on that, right? So in order to start with MCSA, right? So first of all, there are multiple operating system in the market, right? There are Linux operating system, there are Mac OS, there is Windows OS, right? So why still companies used to configure their infra in Windows Server? I'm not saying that companies are not using Red Hat or Linux machine. Then definitely they must be using, or they are going to use the Linux machines also. But majority you will be able to see the Windows operating system. Why? Because it is easy to configure, it is easy to manage, and it has multiple features as compared to Linux and all. No doubt Linux is much secured, right? This is what we used to listen about Linux, that yes, Linux is much secured. I'm not denying that Linux is not secure, it is much secure. Yes, it is. But at the same time, Windows servers are also secured. That is our responsibility to make our Windows operating system secured by configuring firewall rules, by daily running the ports scanning onto the servers, so that we will be able to get that what and all ports are opened in our Windows operating system or Windows servers. Okay, so the thing is, there is no debate between Linux and Windows operating system. Linux has its own identity and Windows has its own identity, right? Majorly, whenever you are going to talk about file servers, whenever you are going to talk about failover cluster, network load balancing, NLB, Active Directory, so these all things we use to configure on Windows Server, right? And for Windows Server also, there are multiple flavors of Windows servers available. Okay, Windows Server, there are multiple flavors like Windows Server 2012 R2, Windows Server 2016, Windows Server 2019, and the latest is Windows Server 2022, right? So till Windows Server 2016, there was MCSA exam, right? By which you can get the global certification after passing that exam, right? You will be able to get a global certification. But now it is not there, guys. Now Microsoft has retired their MCSA certification, right, in order to introduce cloud in the market. That is why they retired their certificates. Okay, so majorly they wants to promote their cloud infra. So Microsoft wants to promote their Azure. So that is why they retired the certification for MCSA, and they started the certification for Azure Administration 104, or you can say 900 also, Azure Fundamentals. So if you want, after this, after performing this MCSA, these labs and all, once you will be able to get the knowledge of servers, then in that case you can go for Azure and then write the exam for Azure and get the global certification for that. Even if you're talking, if you're talking about me, I am also a MCSA certified. I have a MCSA 2016 certification, but now it is not in use because they retired it. And what you need to do, you have to get the cloud knowledge, and in order to get the knowledge of Azure, Windows servers are must, right? So see, on cloud also, what you are going to do, you are going to configure the virtual machines over there, you are going to build the virtual machines over there. Then after making the virtual machine, right, you must be aware of that how that virtual machine can become as a file server, how you can configure the Windows, the websites, how you can host a website onto the Windows server, right? So these all things we are going to learn in MCSA. So MCSA, you can say it is a foundation course in order to understand the servers, in order to understand the cloud, right? This is the foundation. If your concepts are clear, if your foundation is strong, then definitely you will be able to work on Azure and other server environment. For example, SCCM, Software Center Configuration Manager, Intunes, right? So all these things, servers are must. In order to set up a SCCM environment also, you have to build the server. You have to make one primary domain controller. You have to make one database server. You have to make one primary site server, right? So for that also, for SCCM also, servers are the foundation. So if you want to start your career as a system admin or as a support guy, so in that case, servers knowledge are must. Or even if you are already working in the organization as a system administrator or as a desktop support engineer, so again, this is going to be your, it is going to just change your career, it is going to change your path, it is going to change your basically if you want to upgrade yourself, right? So in that case, this is the best thing that we can do, right? So I'm not aware of that how much of you knows about servers or how much you knows about IT. So this is not we are going to discuss today. Once we will start our classes, then I will understand that what kind of knowledge you have, and based on that only I'm going to deliver my lectures, right? So the topics, MCSA, the topics, whatever the topics are there in MCSA, right? So we will discuss about that. So this is the book, first of all, guys, that is for MCSA, right? Server 2016. In this, you can see earlier there were three exams. That was 7740, 7741, and 7742. In order to get the certification, earlier you have to clear these three exams, then only you will be called as a MCSA, that is Microsoft Certified Server Administrator, right? Even me also, I cleared these exams, then only I got the MCSA badge. Okay, so these are the three exams which we need to cover. Okay, so under these exams there are multiple topics, 740, 741, and 742, right? So these have multiple topics. So if I'm going talking about uh give me a moment. Okay, first of all, this is the book, guys, that I'm going to share with you once we are going to start our classes. and so that it is going to help you out during your installation, during the understanding of the topic. Obviously I'm going to explain it, but if let's say you want to get more knowledge onto that topic, so in that case you can go through with this book and you will be able to get the more insights of the topic. Okay, for example, first of all, installing the enterprise, how you can install the operating system, right? How Windows Server 2016 installation can be done. Okay, along with it, there are multiple exercise also in order to test your knowledge, right? Once you are able to get the topic, once you are able to understand the topic, right, and then you can go through with that exercise also, so that you will be able to analyze yourself that how much you have the knowledge for that particular topic. Okay, then I'm just searching for that particular. This is introduction. Yeah. Okay. See. All right. So first of all, we will understand that how we can install an operating system, how we can upgrade. If let's say you are already running with 2012 R2, right? Then how we can upgrade it to latest version of operating system. Either it can be 2019 or it can be 2022. Hopefully you are already aware of that Microsoft has retired their 2012 R2 support. Microsoft is not providing the support for 2012 R2, right? So majority of the organizations are moving their infra, are moving their or upgrading their 2012 R2 operating system onto 2019 or 2022 based on their requirement, right? Even me also, right? If I'm working in the organization, in that case, if let's say some of the servers are running with 2012 R2, or if let's say there are some issue with 2012 R2, then in that case Microsoft is not going to give the support for that, right? So it is recommended by the Microsoft that you should upgrade your previous version of the servers like 2012 R2 or 2012 to the latest version of the operating system in order to get the support, and so that you will not be able to face any kind of issue whenever you are going to migrate it or whenever you are going to work on, right? So install, upgrade and migrate, this is also we are going to talk about in practically, we are going to discuss it. I'm going to show you in the lab that if I will be having one 2012 R2 server, then that existing server, how we can upgrade that server onto the latest operating system. All right, then we have virtual hard disk, VHD. See guys, whatever the topics we are going to cover, right, how we are going to configure the labs, right? So for that we will be needing the virtualization. For virtualization we can use multiple tools. It can be VMware, or it can be Hyper-V, or it can be VirtualBox. Totally depends on you on which virtualization tool you want to work on, right? So in the organization, whenever you are going to attend an interview, in that case they are going to ask you, or even the uh, job profile, you will be able to see that they are looking for the person who have the knowledge of VMware or who have the knowledge of Hyper-V. Okay, so in our module we are going to talk about these tools, and totally our labs we are going to configure on the virtualized environment, and that virtualization environment can be VMware or Hyper-V. So I have right now VMware onto my laptop, and if you want to work on Hyper-V, in that case also I have the Hyper-V setup as well. I think there is something wrong. Okay, connected. All right. So this is Hyper-V. Over there, I have already configured virtual machines, right? See, this much of virtual machines I have configured on my Hyper-V. Okay, so basically this is for my SCCM batch, right? So depends on you in which tool you want to work. I am okay with any of the tool. Either you can work on Hyper-V or you can work on uh, VMware. But in case of Hyper-V, if let's say you are using Windows 10 in your laptops, right, or Windows 11 in your laptop, so if you are using home version of Windows 11 or Windows 10, then in that case by default you will not be able to see Hyper-V. Okay, because by default it is available on Windows 10 Pro or Enterprise version. Same for Windows 11 also. Either it is available on Windows 10, Windows 11 Pro or Enterprise. Right. So if you are working on home version, in that case, need not to worry about it. If you still want to work on Hyper-V, so I will give you one script. That script you have to run in your laptop, and then you will be able to see Hyper-V on your machines. Right. So this is for Hyper-V. So for now, in my base machine, means in my laptop, I am using Windows 10 Pro, right? So if I'll go to, if you want to install Hyper-V, then in that case, type here turn Windows feature on or off. Okay. After running this, you have to enable Hyper-V. You have to just check on this Hyper-V and then okay. After that, your system will going to take a reboot, and after the reboot, you will be able to see Hyper-V on your machine. Okay, so it is free of cost. Microsoft is not going to charge you for this tool, but for VMware, we have to get the license, because whenever you are going to download the VMware, in that case, you will get the trial period of 30 days only. After 30 days, it is going to ask you for the activation. But don't worry, I have the activation key with me, right? I will give you the activation key, and by entering that activation key, you will be able to activate your VMware. Again, it will not going to ask you for the activation. It would be activated for the lifetime. Okay, so this is about the virtualization. Even virtualization, you are able to you can see in multiple organization. Might be your organization also using virtualization, because see, if they are going to buy a good infra, okay, let's say I bought a server. Let's say I bought a server. Okay, and this server has a good compute power in the sense it has a good RAM, right, around, let's say, just a second. Hmm. What happened, man? All right, so let's say this hardware has around 128 GB of RAM, for example. Okay, in real time it can be more than it. It can be 512 GB. Okay, I'm just giving you one example. Let's say it has 128 GB of RAM, right? And let's say it has 16 core processor, just for example. Again, I think I had to set up this again. Yeah. So let's say it is the RAM has 128 GB, right? Hard disk, I have around, let's say just 2 TB SSD, right? And then 16 core processor, Xeon processor, right? So let's say I have this much of compute power, this much of compute power on this server, right? And let's say I just want to I have configured only one operating system onto it. So on that one operating system, you can either install Active Directory, or you can configure your file servers. But let's say if the hardware is down, or if let's say if that particular operating system is corrupted, then obviously whatever the services are going to be run on that operating system, you will not be able to access them, right? So that is why it is highly recommended that you should segregate this, that you should divide this server onto multiple operating systems by configuring virtual machines. So what you will do now, in this, using this machine, using this hardware, you are going to configure multiple virtual machine. Either it can be a Windows operating system, same way if you want you can configure one more. It totally depends on the size, it totally depends on the compute power. Based on that, you can configure virtual machines as many as you want. One more, like this. Now what will happen in these virtual machines? This, on this VM you can configure your file server, you can configure your file server. In this VM you can configure your Active Directory, AD. And on this server, on this VM, you can configure your, let's say, DHCP server. So earlier you were running all these things onto one single operating system, but now what you did, on this operating system you installed, on the top of it you have installed one virtualization tool, one hypervisor basically. It can be anything, VMware, Hyper-V, or whatever you want, Oracle VirtualBox, right? And after installing that hypervisor, you have configured multiple virtual machines. Now take my example. See, so just assume this server is my laptop on which Windows 10 is running right now, right? So this is my Windows 10. This is Windows 10. And then on this Windows 10, I installed this Hyper-V, sorry, VMware, right? And on this VMware, based on the compute power I have in my laptop, I have configured multiple virtual machines. So obviously I have only 12 GB RAM available in my laptop. So based on that, I have configured 4 virtual machines. But again, if you're going to have a good compute power, you can configure as many as virtual machines you want, right? So laptop is the hardware. On the top of it, I installed Hyper-V or VMware. And after installing the Hyper-V and VMware, I configured multiple virtual machine, that is Server 1, 2, Windows 7, and Server 2016. Right? So this is how real-time companies work. This is how companies used to work efficiently on their features, on their servers. Okay, take the example of this also. So This is the server operating system. This is the hardware you can assume for now, right? And on this operating system, I installed Hyper-V. Hyper-V. And on Hyper-V, I configured these much virtual machines. Why this much? Because this server has a good compute power. Let me show you. It has around 64 GB of RAM. That is why you can see these much virtual machines onto it. See, 64 GB of RAM it has, right? And 15 processor it has. So it totally depends. It totally based on the hardware you have. If you have a good compute, obviously you will be able to work on your virtual machines efficiently. You will not be able to face any, you will not face any lags onto it, any slowness issues onto it. Higher will be the compute power, higher will be the processing speed. All right. So we are going to configure our labs. We are going to configure whatever the topics we are going to discuss in MCSA. So all things, all scenarios, all labs we are going to configure either on Hyper-V or on VMware. Choice is yours. Whatever tool you want to work with, I'm okay with it. I don't have any issue. Right? Now, let's go ahead. Then implement of Hyper-V. How you can install Hyper-V, or how you can configure the virtual machines on Hyper-V. How to change the settings in Hyper-V. Okay, so all these things we are going to talk about. Okay, same way if you want to work on VMware also, so we can, I will show you that how to configure the virtual machines on VMware, how to edit them, and how to make the changes. If let's say your virtual machine is running with 2 GB of RAM, for example, right, and you want to upgrade that VM to 4 GB of RAM or more than that, then no need to configure a separate virtual machine. The existing VM can also be upgraded to the higher size. You can increase the RAM size of the existing virtual machine. Okay, it will just going to take the seconds to increase the size of your RAM and all, right? Then we have high availability also, basically in case of failover clustering, right? If you want to manage your file server, right? Let's say your customer or your users are using your file server. So first of all, what is file server? Any idea, guys? What is file server? Can anybody tell? Hmm? Any idea? Deepak, Keshav, Manoj?
No, sir.
Yes, Deepak?
No idea, sir.
No idea. All right, no problem. All right. So see, file servers are basically a storage server, you can say, where actually you or your users can place their data onto a central location. Let's say one data, you have created a data, right? And then that data is being used by each user in your organization. Let's say it is your attendance sheet, for example. Okay, so that attendance sheet, you have to make sure that each and every user should have the access of it. So in that case, what you can do, you can place it on a file server, right? And making that file server, your users will be able to access it, as well as if users want to upload some data onto that location, they will be able to upload the data over there, right? But if that server goes down, let's say there is some connectivity issue with that server, or maybe some operating system issues with that server, then how the users will be able to access the file servers? So in that case, guys, what we can do, we can configure the failover clustering. What it will do, if any of the server will get down, then in that case, it will give the roles to the second server. And at the backend, or if you're talking about users, there would be no issues. The users are not going to face any kind of issue during that transition. They will be able to access the file server. But at the backend, only you should be aware of, or you are going to be the owner, or you are going to get that whether which server is the owner node and which server is the passive node. What is owner? Basically, owner node is the server which is going to serve the services. And passive node, you can say it is going to be the backup of that owner. If that owner node will get down, then that passive node will get active, and through that active node again, users will be able to access the file share, or they will be able to access the data inside your file servers. Right? So it is our responsibility as a server administrator, as a desktop support, right, that you should configure the failover clustering in case of file servers. Okay, so this thing also we are going to talk about in it, in our module. Then maintain, monitor, how you can monitor the environment, how you can monitor the server installation. That is basically the event viewer, right? If you want to see the events, that what and all events are going on, whatever the installations has been done in your absence. So in that case, if you want to get the a log of that, so in that case, we can go to the event viewer, and over there we will be able to get the log files. So how to read the event viewer, this we will going to talk about in this module. Then we have domain naming system, the major thing, guys. DNS server. See, you used to access any of the website with its name. For example, you are accessing azure.com, right? Portal.azure.com, live.nwkings.com, or nwkings.com, godaddy.com. How you are able to access these websites with the name, right? So basically, this is actually whenever you are going to type a domain name, so at the back end, DNS server is going to resolve your query, right? Then how DNS resolves a query, how the primary zones can be configured, how secondary zones can be configured, what are A records, what are quad A records, what are MX record. So all these things we are going to talk about in the DNS topic, right? See, these are the DNS zones, DNS records. These are A record, quad A record, PTR, start of authority, name server, CNAME, MX record, right? So all these things we are going to talk about. Why? Because see, if you are going for the interview, in that case also interviewer is going to ask you, what is DNS server? What are the records? What are forwarders? What is forward lookup zone? What is reverse lookup zone? Right? So I will be covering each and everything in the DNS. And guys, see, based on the interview also, I'm going to prepare you that what interviewer can ask within that topic. I have prepared around 40 to 50 questions, guys. If you are able to answer that 40 to 50 questions, I'm damn sure you will be able to get the job in IT as a system admin or as a systems engineer. Only 40 to 50 questions I have prepared, right? So I'm going to share that as well during our classes. I will share all these things. Then DHCP. How to configure the DHCP? What is DHCP? So DHCP is basically to get the IP addresses automatically, right? So to get that IPs automatically, first of all, we need to understand IPs, either IPs can be defined as a static or through the dynamic, through the DHCP. Now, what is the need of IP? Why we need to assign IP? Because guys, if you need to communicate inside a network, then in that case, IPs are needed, right? If computer wants to talk, computer one wants to talk to computer B, then in that case, we have to configure the IP. Then only we will be able to talk to each other. Okay, so this is why IPs are always needed. Even if you are connected right now through your home router, right? So your devices also, they are going to get the IP. On your mobile devices also, if you are connected to your home router, on that also you will be able to get the IP network, the IP basically. It can be a class C or it can be a class B. Same way in laptop also. If let's say I'm connected with the Wi-Fi right now in my home, right? So I must be getting one IP. Go to properties. See, this is the IP, IPv4 address. That is why I'm able to talk to you. That is why I'm able to access internet on this machine, right? So IPs are must. So now you can see this IP I am getting from the DNS, sorry, from the DHCP, right? But if you want, so you can see IP assignment as automatic, that is DHCP. So now where is the DHCP configured? DHCP is configured on my home router. But obviously in the organization, how to configure the DHCP, how to distribute the IPs to the devices, to the laptops, to the desktops. So we have to set up the DHCP server. Inside that DHCP server, we are going to configure the scope. We are going to configure the range of IP. So in my case, the range in my router, the range might be, the range will be 192.168.29.1012, 29 dot, let's say it is 200. That means I can connect 101 devices with my router because the scope has only 101 IPs. Okay, so how to configure the scopes, how to work with it, how to configure DHCP relay agent, how to reserve the IPs. So all these things we are going to cover in the DHCP topic. Okay, even we are going to configure DHCP failover also. Means if let's say the devices which are getting the IP from your DHCP server, let's say that device is down, let's say that server is down, then how the users or how the devices will be able to get the IPs? So in that case, we have to prepare one backup, and that backup will be called as failover DHCP failover. All right. Then we have Okay, so we have managed DNS and DHCP using IPAM. IPAM is basically again a server that is called IP address access management. What it will do, it will going to, let's say you have 5 DHCP server and 5 DNS server in the environment. If you want to make any kind of changes onto them, then every time you have to log in onto the server, then only you will be able to make the change. But IPAM can make this thing easy. No need to log in individually onto each and every server. Through this single IPAM server, you will be able to manage multiple DHCP and multiple DNS servers. Right? So how to configure it? This comes under IPAM, IP address access management. And then you have implement network connectivity and remote access solution, basically VPN, netting, network address translation, LAN routing, static routes, how to configure, how to install, how to manage. So all these things we will talk about in the network connectivity and remote access solution. Then you have core server, guys. See, you have Linux servers, right? Linux servers are command based, right? Again, guys, Windows server are also command based server. For now, you can see, let me log in onto one of the server. I'll show you. Even this is also a server, right? So on this server, you can see all these things. You can see add roles and features, right? Whatever the feature you want to install, you can install it. But Windows server also has a command based solution. Core server, it is called as core server. If you are going to work on a core server, it will be like a black screen, like this command prompt. You must be aware of PowerShell, then only you will be able to work on it. Okay, so how to set up a core server, how to work with it, how to manage it, how to implement the PowerShell commands to it. So all these things we are going to discuss in the core server topic. Okay, all right, let me minimize it. And then you have the advanced, that is high availability of your network load balancers, your web server. Then we have Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS, in which we are going to talk about the primary domain controller, additional domain controller, child domain controller, read-only domain controller. Okay, how to create the users, how to join the systems onto domain, how users will be able to access the services of my network, how to give the rights to the user, that is called delegate control, right? So all these scenarios we are going to talk about, right? Then we have managing and maintaining ADDS, this I already talked about. Then how to take the backup of Active Directory, how to restore the Active Directory using backup, right? We will configure onto it. Then group policy, major topic again. To make your infrastructure secured, right? What you can do, you can implement the group policies. Let's say you don't want the users will be able to read pen drive on the devices of your organization, right? We can block it through group policy. Let's say you want whatever the system is going to be the part of your domain, automatically the printer will be installed onto each and every device of the organization. We can do it via group policy. Same way, we have thousands of templates available of group policies that can be implemented. Just take one more example. So whenever you used to reset your internet banking password, right, you will not be able to, or you will not be able to use your previous passwords. It will give you the error that use a unique password. How can it be done? In case of AD, we can do it through the group policy. All right. Then we have groups, how to create the groups and all, right? Then we have Active Directory Certificate Services, ADCS. So certificate services are basically going to make your website secured. See, if let's say I want to access any of the website, so that website either you can access it through HTTP or with HTTPS. Now tell me the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. Any one of you? Any idea what is HTTP or HTTPS? All right. So HTTP is not secured, guys. If I'm going to access any of the website using HTTP, right, then it means the connection between me, my laptop, and that website is not secured. Whatever the activities I am going to do on that website, hacker will be able to access it. right? If let's say I'm using internet banking, but I'm not using HTTPS, I'm using only HTTP, then a hacker can see your activity, or might be he will be able to get the passwords also of your internet banking, right? That is why it is always recommended to access any of the website with HTTPS, because HTTPS, what it will do, it is going to make sure that the connectivity between your laptop and the website should be secured. And how that website, how the connection is getting secured, that is through the certificate. If you want to see the certificate, see, go to this lock button, and here you can see connection is secure. But why connection is secured? If you're going to click on it, you will be able to see the site has a valid certificate issued by a trusted authority. That is why it is secure, right? So in that case, we have to generate the certificate, and we have to secure, we have to make secure that the connectivity between the sites and the clients should be secured. So in that case, what we can do, we can deploy the certificate. All right. If you want to see, this is the certificate issued by DigiCert and issued to Amazon.com. All right. So how to create the certificates, we will talk about onto it. And then ADFS, Active Directory Federation Services. So it is also a topic which we will discuss. Okay. I don't want to talk more about on it. Might be you will get confused. All right. Then, all right. So this is the assessment test also, but this is not completed yet. So I have prepared one Excel sheet also, which covers all the topics that we are going to cover in MCSA. Okay. And these are my previous batches which are running and which are going on. So I used to track the topic. I used to track the topics through this Excel sheet. Even when we are going to start our classes. So whenever we are done with any of the topic, I will make it as green, so that you as well as me will be able to track that what and all topics we have covered so far. Okay, so see the same thing, introduction to MCSA and VMs. This is what I talked about, that how to configure the virtual machine, right? How to manage it. So all these things we are going to talk about in it. And then types of DCs. I gave you the example, that is Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS. So it can be a primary domain controller, additional domain controller, child domain controller, and read-only domain controller. Then you have Active Directory, how to manage Active Directory, how to create users account, how to create groups, right? How to make a user as the member of a group. Okay. How to reset users password, how to join a system to the domain. Okay, then a domain and OU delegation. This is what I was talking about. Let's say you want to give some access, give the access to other users also apart from you. Then how to give them the delegate control, because as an admin you will be having the full control on the web on your Active Directory, but you want the others will not be able to access your Active Directory. They will not be have the same rights which you have. So in that case, what we can do, we can configure the delegate control, and that delegate control can be even given at the domain level, or we can give it at a OU level also. Now, what is OU? We will talk it about later on. Then RSET remote server administration tool, how to manage your Active Directory on your Windows 10 or Windows 11 devices. No need to log in onto the servers. You will be able to manage your AD using RSET tool, right? Then AD Administrative Center, DSCP failover, DSCP relay agent, then FTP server, web server, okay? Then network load balancing cluster. See, in case of web server, what you can do, you can configure the network load balancing, so that if the load is increasing on your web server, right? Then how the other devices will be able to share the load. If let's say server 1 is overloaded, right, then you want that server 2 will also share the load of server 1. Then in that case we have to configure the network load balancing in order to make our website highly available for the customers. Okay, so that is network load balancing we will talk about. And then we have folder profile, folder redirection and profiles, then type of trust, then NAT, network address translation, then file and print management, then VPN, then VPN with NPS, and then VPN with radius server. Okay, then we have remote desktop services, data deduplication, BitLocker, FSRM, file server resource manager, storage, FSMO roles, shadow copies, DFS replication and namespace, WSUS patching. This is again a major topic, guys, right? Then FSMO role, seize and transfer, then AD migration or upgradation. This is what I was talking about. If you want to upgrade your 2012 to 2019 or 2022, then how we can upgrade our existing server. Okay, so it will comes under migration or upgradation. Then ADFS and then backup and restore. If let's say uh, your server is running with DHCP, right, and that DHCP server is down, just for example, right, let's say in this case you have not configured the DHCP failover. Okay, so if that DHCP will get down, so what you are going to do? Are you going to build the DHCP from very scratch? No. What you can do, you have to take the backup, right? After taking that backup you can restore it back so that there would be no loss of data. Okay, so in that case we can configure the backup and we can restore it. So this is in case of DHCP, right? We can configure the backup for any of the feature in the server and we can restore it later on. That is called, basically you can take, you can say it as disaster recovery, DR, that we have a backup point. Through that backup we will be able to restore our services. Okay, and then WDS, Windows Deployment Services. So for now, if you have seen, operating system can be installed either through uh, DVDs, or you can install it through the bootable pen drive. Okay, but if you want to install the operating system using network, right, then in that case, in this is the industry solution, guys. If you are working in the organization, then you are not going to install the operating system using USB or DVDs. No, you are going to install it through the network, through local network. And how to install? Then in that case we have to set up the WDS. Then how to set up, we are going to talk about in this topic. Then RAID configuration, then AD sites and services, IPAM, IFM, failover in file server. This is what I was talking about, failover clustering. And then DNS, then forest and domain function level, then Active Directory certificate services, which is going to make the connection secured. Okay, that is certificate services. Then NIC teaming, and the last but not the least, PowerShell. Along with it, we are going to cover one more topic, that is active uh, admin center, Windows admin center. Okay, this one topic also we will cover. So these around 44 topics, guys, we are going to cover, which will almost take 1.5 months. That means if we are going to start it from today or maybe from coming Monday, then we will be able to complete it by the 31st December. Or if it will go beyond that, no issues. We have to just first of all understand the concept. If you guys are able to understand the concept, then then only we are going to move further. Then only we are going to move on next topic. Okay, so I'm here to make your concept strong, right? If you are able to understand the concept, installation is not going to take much time, right? Even for installation you can follow this book also. Whatever the installation you are going to make, right, you will be able to see the screenshots. See, these screenshots are available. right? The major thing is you have to understand the concept. That's it. And I'm going to make your concept strong. After making it strong, installation will be easy. Because in the real time, whenever you're going to go for the interview, then in that case, they are going to ask about the concept. They are not going to give you one server that, yes, set up this server as a DHCP. No, they are going to ask what is DHCP, what is DORA process, what is the by default lease timing for DHCP server. Okay, so these can be the interview question. And from these topics only, I have prepared around 40 to 50 interview questions, which is going to help you out during your interviews. Right now, if you have any query, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
Yeah, hi.
Hi Keshav.
Actually, how many classes will be there in a week?
5 classes. It's
Five
a week.
classes.
It's a weekday batch of one Monday to Friday.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
no problem. And
And one more question.
yeah, yes, please go on. Yeah,
Yeah, along with server 2016, are we covering also 2019 and 2022?
yeah. Obviously, this is only the book I have for 2016, right? We are not
Yes.
going to use 2016. We are going to use 2019 or 2022.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Even see in my previous batches also, I can show you for my current batches as well. I am using this operating system 2019. See.
Yeah, 2019.
Okay, so no worry, no need to worry about it. Even if you want, we can install 2022 as well. Okay,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
no problem.
May I know your name, please?
Yeah, Sahitya.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I think this is all about today, right? So for the further notification, you will get from the networking team, right? That from when we are going to start our classes. So might be it will be from Monday, from coming Monday. Okay, so you will get the further notification from the team, and then we are going to start the classes, right? So you guys already enrolled, Keshav or Manoj? You guys have enrolled?
Yes.
Okay, okay. What about Manoj? Okay, anyways. So might be Manoj, you are on mute right now. If you are speaking, you have to unmute yourself. Okay. Again, it is going to be the foundation course in order to understand the SCCM and in order to understand the see guys, these are the steps, right, which we have to follow in order to upgrade ourselves, right? First of all, we will start working on servers. We will get the knowledge of servers, and then there are multiple tools which are being used by the organization, right? Which is SCCM. How to configure it, how to manage it, how to manage the features of SCCM, right? So these all things you will be able to understand once you are going to have the knowledge of servers. And then Azure, if you want to move yourself to cloud, then in that case also you have to very handy with the servers, then only you will be able to understand them easily. Okay, so see you in the next class guys. So this is all about today. So I hope the session would it was the informative session, and definitely we'll connect on Monday or based on the notification you will get. So we will start our classes, right? And
Yeah,
whenever you have
actually,
any query, yeah, Keshav, yeah.
yeah. Class timing will be same, 10 p.m.
Yes, it would be same because I'm already packed with the other schedules. So it would be from 10 p.m. Yes.
Okay, and class duration 1 hour, right?
1 hour or maybe it depends on the topic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if let's say the topic is taking 1.5 hour or more than that, so it depends on topic to topic. Okay. Sometime
Okay.
it can be 45 minutes also, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right then. See you guys. See you everyone. Bye bye. Good night. Take care.
Yeah.
Thanks
Good
for
night.
joining. Bye bye.